that St. Paul is going to provide an update on the shooting that happened right outside of a graduation. I am worried less about the safety of downtown St. Paul and more about the safety of our graduations. Last year, the University of Minnesota stopped holding graduations at the U. They said it was because it costs too much money, it takes too much effort. I think it's because of the violence. Because of the violence. Why do you think high school, college graduations have become such a hotbed for shootings and for violence? And does it change the way that you think about going to those events? 651-461-9226. Metropolitan State University had graduation ceremonies at Roy Wilkins on Monday. They ended around 4:30. So we don't know for sure, and maybe we'll get an update from St. Paul Police soon about this. They're doing this update at 4:15. I worry about graduations. Now, part of my concern with this incident is because I was home and my wife heard the shots. So last night, our show was done at 5:00. And so I was home around 5:30. And I get home. And then I was trying to be a good husband. So I take our recycling down to the lobby of our apartment building. And I'm taking the recycling downstairs. And after I bring the stuff into, I take it to the dumpster and then I come out in the lobby and I see an Amazon delivery person just looking frantic. I'm like, "Are you okay? Is there something I can do to help you? Are you?" Because she just looked exhausted and stressed. And she said, "There was a shooting right outside. There was a shooting." And you're in your home. You're like, "There's a shooting right outside." At the same time, I get a text from my wife, and Alyssa says, "Where are you?" Sounded like shots and then screaming outside our window. Now there are a million cops out there. And the response from St. Paul Police last night, this is the street in front of the Ordway, the area around the River Center, part of West 7th near Grand Casino Arena. There were people all over the park because this graduation ceremony ended at 4:30, so people were out there taking pictures, doing their thing. It was nice. I'm arriving at home, and you're like, this is great. Rice Park is full of people, and we've seen a fair amount of this in St. Paul, taking their graduation photos. You graduate from Metropolitan State in St. Paul. You did it. You did it. Just like those kids last year at Wayzata High School were going to their graduation. And a day that should be a moment of incredible celebration. Instead, you're always going to remember that at your graduation, somebody was shot. And yeah, like the schools, and man, I hate this stuff. The schools always bend themselves in knots. Well, it wasn't one of our students. It wasn't technically, or they weren't. We don't know for sure. Like, come on, give me a break. And we'll find out from the chief if this was, the odds that this was just absolutely coincidental, maybe. But there aren't a lot of shootings happening in downtown St. Paul at 5:30 in the afternoon. That's not the norm. I believe that we have a problem that no one likes talking about, and the problem is gangs. In this city, we don't talk a lot about gang violence. And I don't know why that is. When I first moved here, we were talking about there were gangs in different communities. You had in St. Paul, the concern was Frogtown, you had Hmong gangs. And in Minneapolis, you had Latino gangs. And today, you don't hear too much about Hmong gangs. It looks like either that problem has taken care of itself or has been policed out as an issue, or it's happening under the radar and no one's talking about it. I don't know. In Minneapolis, we know there have been problems with gang activity in the Somali community. And it does seem with each ethnic group that moves to our community in the early phase before you sort of had that second generation, seems like we have a gang problem. Now, we also have plenty of crime with people who are born here too. Like, I'm not saying that, but it does seem that we have this gang problem that I just don't understand why we don't talk about it. Texters at 651-461-9226. Asking about graduation. Do you feel safe going to a graduation party? Or going to a high school or a college graduation? I do, but it seems like this has become a spot where scores are settled. Last year, I believe there were 3 different graduations that had incidents of violence outside. And man, it sucks. And it happens outside of the security zone. So it's not like we can what are you supposed to do on the streets? One texter saying the issue is it, guns. It's just too many guns. And
we've already shown we're not going to do anything about that.
Right.
Didn't the U of M change their policy about having high school graduations based on some of the stuff that happened?
I believe that's why they changed it. They claimed that the U stopped doing graduations at Mariucci. And last year
high schools.
For high school.
Right.
And part of the reason that they said they stopped is that they were charging like $30,000 each, but like the time it takes and blah, blah, blah. To me, it sounded like a load of crap, that the real reason is that somebody got shot outside of Mariucci. And the reality is there is no way to ensure safety. There just isn't, because the world is open. And if you're in a gang and you want to settle a score, you know that your enemy is going to be showing up for that graduation, or at least you have a good shot, right? So even if it's not the student that's your target, maybe it's the student's brother or uncle. And so this becomes a spot where you're like, I'm going to, and you have the added bonus that there's so many people you can make a run for it and probably get away. It's a pretty good scenario if you're looking to shoot somebody. Just makes me very concerned. 651-461-9226. Lots of text coming in. Are you more hesitant to attend a graduation right now? Are you worried about violence at this? The chief of police in St. Paul sharing updates right now. We'll update you as we hear it here on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Terrene Dermatology wants you to take care of your skin as we hit this sunny season. It's Jason for my friends at Terrene Dermatology. 11 locations, 2 more announced, growing into Western Wisconsin, growing all over the metro area, because they want to be close to you and take care of you. They don't want you to have to wait. Many CCO listeners have told me they've had to wait months to make an appointment for a dermatologist, not at Terrene. Terrene Dermatology guarantees they'll get you in within 3 weeks, and sometimes they'll get you in faster. If you have a mark or a mole that changes shape or size or color, get it checked out. Get it checked out. Don't mess around with it. Dr. Mohiba Terrene is my dermatologist. I see her in Roseville, but I've been to their office in Eagan, in Hudson. They're in Monticello. They're in Lakeville now. Terrain Dermatology has you covered wherever you need skin care. They're so good. So good. Check them out. Let me know how it goes. Terrain Dermatology is online at TAREEN, terraindermatology.com. Surrounding a graduation, and our newsroom's monitoring it to get more information about, what exactly St. Paul police know. A couple of people were injured, a couple of people arrested as well. 2 men shot, 3 in custody, not life-threatening. It happened right outside where Alyssa and I live in downtown St. Paul, and she heard those gunshots last night, and I saw the people running for it. It's unnerving, but my reaction was not to be nervous, as we heard the police chief saying, about the safety of downtown St. Paul. And this also does underscore the limitations of police response, because the police were there like 30 seconds after it happened. I mean, it was because whenever there are big events going on at the Ordway or in Rice Park or at Grand Casino or at River Center at Roy Wilkins, there usually is a St. Paul police officer sort of posted up in like a concrete median near the Landmark Center. And I like it. You're like, hey, if anything goes, you got somebody right here. And people were there real fast. But that doesn't stop someone. What are you going to do? How do you stop it? You heard the chief say this has been a problem at graduations all around the metro area. Texters at 651-461-9226. Jason, a lot of texts about gangs. Parents choose to have a child and choose not to raise them to be a functional member of society. Therefore, they should be held responsible. I the hate the turn of phrase and hate the term, but lock them up. I don't know that locking up a parent is gonna solve a gang problem. Texters say you can get shot in a church, at school, at Walmart, at a bar, at a graduation, driving down the road, at home in your neighborhood. We have decided any level of gun is acceptable. You It is part of the trade-off of living in a free society, right? Like, we don't want metal detectors in public. We don't we it took a massive change to have metal detectors at the state capitol here in Minnesota. I think we accept that there are certain sort of soft targets, right, Dan? That like, the outside of a sporting event or I mean, frankly, to a certain degree, it's surprising you don't have more of these incidents, but it's because random gun violence is not that it's relatively rare. These often are targeted scenarios where they're after someone.
Yeah.
They're after someone. And when you have 2 people arrested, 3 people shot, that doesn't tell me I don't know, we'll see what the update is, but I think often it ends up to be a targeted scenario, and that's why they do it at a graduation. How do you stop it?
I don't know, but it's clearly been an uptick in these type of incidents over the last few years, as you mentioned earlier, and that's where I think there is concern. Is it hardening the target? Is it creating more barriers? Is it I don't know. But something is leading to this being a larger problem and beyond just standard gun violence. And again, I think the attitude in this culture towards guns is absurd. And I wish we had more will to actually do something about that and not just shrug our shoulders and go, free country.
Right.
Because I think that's a poor excuse. But short of that, and we've obviously proven we're not going to do that, I don't know where you go to try and shut this thing down. I mean, like you said, you can try and harden the target a little bit more, but I'm not a big believer in deterrence. I think if somebody's gotten to the point where they think throwing shots is a reasonable response to whatever their issue is, they're not thinking logically enough to be deterred. So is that more about just making people feel safer? Look, my nephew's graduating at the U of M a week from Monday.
Yeah.
And I'm taking my parents down there. And it's not so much concern for me but I have some concern for them. And, I'm sure it's going to go off without a hitch.
Yep.
And these incidences don't inspire a ton of confidence either.
Texter says, as a teacher, I am concerned about attending graduation, which I am required to do. Another texter says, just hold high school graduations at the respective high schools and severely limit the number of people who can attend. The problem is, like, Maple Grove High School has 550 graduates, and the auditorium there can only hold, like, what, 1,500 people max? Pretty big theater, but still, like, you could do it in the gym.
You could do it at the football field.
But nobody wants
now
to
you're
do it
risking weather.
outside
Yeah.
because the weather.
You're risking weather.
It's, I don't know, man. It is, for me, it's about gangs. It's about a lack of will to really go at it. And part of going at it means you do have to punish people for what I think we would consider to be more relatively minor scenarios to try to keep them off the streets or try to rehabilitate them or try to figure out, I don't know.
And do we have facilities that we can do that if we go that far?
No, not now. You'd have to get serious in a different way.
Yeah.
You could go after
And
gun.
where's that money coming from? And, there's 1,000 different.
Now, you could go after gun laws, but I have to be honest, I don't think that is really an answer in this scenario because you're talking about gang members who are already violating gun laws. So I do think being more serious in how we prosecute gun laws and how we punish gun offenses would be helpful. But tightening gun laws, which I am in favor of tightening gun laws, but it's not the answer for this scenario to me.
Well, except in the sense that if what you want is to lock people up for a longer period of time and convicting them not only of the shooting offense but of violating tightened gun laws as well, that's a vehicle by which you can do that.
Yeah, maybe. Another texter says it doesn't really matter where you have the graduation because once the ceremony is over, we've had people waiting outside of our building to go after other students. Yeah, I mean, that's
just it, yeah.
We have a problem with young people and violence. We just do, and young men and gang violence. I don't just say young people. It's young men, often gangs. We're going to break. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. My gosh. It's been heavy this afternoon. It is Cinco de Mayo, and I've got a family-run business story that you're going to love. A local woman who has started her own churros restaurant. Churros, I think she brought some stuff in too, Dan. So we're getting fat and happy. We hope you do too on this Cinco de Mayo on Drive Time. Back in just a minute.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here for my friend Chris Lindahl and Chris Lindahl Real Estate. Arms wide out. You know the Lindahl bit. You know him on the billboard. And I hope you're getting to know the Big Red Check. Big Red Check. Chris Lindahl has been delivering big red checks to people all over the Twin Cities. And I have been surprised, to be honest, by the number of people who have said, you know what, the housing market is such a pain in the butt. I don't want to deal with it. I just want to be done. I want a big red check. I'm not willing to deal with picky buyers. I'm not willing to get to the finish line and have somebody back out because they didn't like this or didn't like that. I'm not willing to pour tens of thousands of dollars into my home to make it acceptable. Let's just sell it and be done. Chris Lindahl will buy it today. If you go to chrislindahl.com, before you list, call Chris. You can get a free smart seller guide at chrislindahl.com. See if it makes sense for you. Because the guaranteed cash offer means no headaches, no stress, no paying agent commission. It just means money and a big red check. 763-401-SOLD. You can call that number or get that smart seller guide online. Do it today. Terms and conditions do apply to the guaranteed cash offer, but check out more at chrislindahl.com.